Hello everyone, and along with me is Dr. Kota Harinarayana, and both of us are at the Tejas Full Mission Simulator facility at Aeronautical Development Establishment. This simulator facility is very significant one for the Tejas program. All the pilots who are part of this LCA program, right from Rajiv Kotial onwards, they have spent several hours here. Dr. Kota will speak about all that. Also, we are going to meet some of the key people who have been associated with this particular simulation team. Right, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so we are also going to meet them. The last time, sir, introducing more kids, it has been a huge hit. A lot of now school children want to be part of it.
Yeah,
so I hope we'll be able to do justice
to their aspirations
Yes, sir.
and their questions. Anyhow, it is a facility which has really grown along with the LCA program, and the pilots' first way to understand aircraft is this.
How significant is this facility when you talk about the Tejas program?
The flight simulation facility has in fact played a vital role and in case key role in integrating the pilot with the vehicle. The only way the pilot could know about the aircraft is through simulation. So it is an extraordinary role it has played, it continues to play, and it is a design simulator. And a lot of simulators there all over the world you see, they are training simulator. But this simulator is for designing an aircraft, something unique.
So let's go and see. Yeah, so very interesting thing because this was built which year, sir? Because you were also the director here.
I was a
So
director.
at that time, this facility was
It
there?
was more like a training simulation development. It is a center of excellence for simulators. And they built simulators here for aircraft which were already in operation. But subsequently, when the LCA program came, this facility to create simulation and use the simulation designing the aircraft.
Amazing. I'm sure we're going to hear from the team here already here. So if you could introduce, sir.
So nice to meet you.
Nice
Good dear. Chandrasekhar, you have been here from 1989?
Yes, 1990s.
Yeah, 89, 90.
And this is Bhatia. He's
He's the group director.
Who has lived with the project for almost something like 2.5 decades.
And this is Mr. Magesh. He's the head of the
I think
simulation.
they represent 3 facets of the simulation. Okay, because when we started ADE has been a center of excellence for simulation. Okay, initially there were no development projects. Okay, there were no development. So aircraft development projects were not there. So they were building simulator for the aircraft which are already in operation. There are 2. Maybe you can tell which are the 2 aircraft for which you built the simulator.
Actually, I'll just brief you. Our journey started off from 1980s onwards. We built a research simulator at that time. Then we started building the training simulators for Ajit aircraft as well as Kiran aircraft sometime in 1986.
Correct.
So ADE having the expertise of building simulators and became the center of excellence for building simulators for all other aircrafts. So when the LCA program started and we have the responsibility of designing and developing a real-time simulator for LCA.
See, important Chandrasekhar, one is building a simulator for a trainer as a training simulator is altogether different from a simulator becoming a vehicle for designing an aircraft. See, the fidelity levels that are required for a design simulator is an order of magnitude higher than for a training simulator. The group itself evolved itself and developed the simulator along with the aircraft design. Okay? I think there may not be many groups in the world who have developed the simulator to help to design an aircraft. You may be one of the very few in the whole world.
And I remember, Dr. Kota, during my early days of interaction with Kotial, the first man who flew Tejas, the number of hours he spent on these simulators. It was every time when we used to chase Koti, then he used to say, I'm at ADE flying the simulator. So could you just take back and, those memories of the pilots coming and flying here, Koti, then Nambiar, then Banerjee,
Banerjee,
all
there are
those
many.
greats.
But these are the three original fellows.
Yes, absolutely.
Would you like to say?
Just as the main thing, actually main transformation which happened for this thing was, as it says, it was an engineering simulator. So first time it was used as a design and development tool. So earlier AD had this history of making a training simulator where aircraft already existed. So here this was the first time when we were the part of this thing, process of design and development of the aircraft software itself. So here main purpose was control law validation and handling qualities evaluation of the aircraft. To be very frank, see, it is something like you are making an aircraft. How that aircraft is going to fly, you can never predict. So this, how that actual aircraft is going to fly, they can only practice on the simulator. So this, I have seen them. I have seen Kotials, I have seen Nambiar sir, I have seen Banerjee. I was really fortunate to see when they were flying here, and mainly this, all this kind of malfunction, as I said, more than 1,000 hours of flying they have seen, and I could see them, especially before the first flight of LCA. Because nobody knew how aircraft is going to fly. So they just used to sit on the aircraft and just used to, you fail this. I used to stand next to them, fail this, fail this, fail this. This is what will happen, how this aircraft. So this as a control law validation tool and the handling qualities evaluation tool. This model, what we have put it here, this simulator is a very high fidelity model, and that what provides the exact replica of the performance of the
And that
aircraft.
famous statement of Kotial,
LCA flew like the simulator. Actually.
LCA flew like
Didn't
this.
find any difference between flying the simulator and flying the aircraft. It shows the level of what you call fidelity to which the simulation was created. Okay, that is the point of the other thing is, as you just now said, it's not just flying when everything is functioning. One of the major issues when you first time fly is what could be the kind of failure that would occur. You can't predict, though you do some analysis, but really you don't. So a series of simulations of failures is an integral part of training yourself to fly for the first time. Maybe he can talk about what are the kind of failure simulations you have done.
First thing is the LCA being a single seater and a single engine aircraft. It's always a high risk affair for anybody to try them out first. So that is where we bank on the simulators, and we can create scenarios and failures for which he can practice and prepare himself. So it starts from system failures. Since initially we were more concentrating on the fly-by-wire flight control system of the aircraft, what all actuators are there, what all sensors are there, what happens if one fails, two fails, as we know it's a quad redundant system. So the pilot and the aircraft behavior together, how they are responding to each other. Because the pilot should not think something is right for the aircraft, and the fly-by-wire system should not think something else is better. So they will end up fighting with each other. So all those things were practiced here. One for refining the logics and the control laws. The other is to prepare the pilot. Because any pilot flying a new aircraft will always have to be extra cautious on what he should do and what he should not do. So all those things were practiced here, and then that gave the confidence even for the designers of the aircraft as well as the pilot to go ahead for a first block of flights.
See, one important thing you may have to recollect, after the first flight took place, Kotial got the highest award that is given to an experimental test pilot for the whole world, not India. For that year, he got that because here is a team, is a new design team, new what you call pilots. They have never flown an experimental aircraft in their life, a new development team, new certification team. With all that, a flawless what you call takeoff and landing. In fact, if you remember, just that in Griffin, when the first flight took place, when the pilot landed, he was telling there were hundreds of warnings, so much of, he was just not able to concentrate on that. Whereas this aircraft, we tuned it to such a level that there were no warnings, nothing of that sort. And he practiced it so well. He was talking thousands, maybe more than thousands he had done that. And a perfect, what you call, integration between the aircraft and the pilot. And that is the beauty of the LCA.
Yeah, so all the young fellows watching this, what he said, how many times they failed the system to test the success. So every time you can't chase success, and in case if you're fearing failure, Does not. You shouldn't. That is what the LCA story tells, because every system on board was tested for failure, and that's what happens in military flying. And look at the way the pilots use these simulators for testing failures, which eventually became the success of Tejas, right, sir?
And today it is considered possibly the best aircraft with the handling qualities, where a pilot, it really captured the nuances of how a pilot wants it in the control law. And that control law is really tuned so that the pilot considers it his aircraft. See, we had bought the aircraft from abroad earlier. They were never tuned that way. Okay? Russian aircraft has a different philosophy, British have different, and French have different, all these fellows. But here is the first time you have designed an aircraft to meet your own pilot's requirements.
So in that sense, is these two simulators here, one for, we will show that in a while, but so one for LCA Air Force and one for dedicated to the Navy. So they're national facility, right? So like this, I understand something has come up in Sulur, which we'll talk later. But apart from these two, there are no other simulator facilities like this?
No, not of this, not this type. There are training simulators all over, but not this kind of fidelity level to which we have developed. It's a unique capability.
So let me ask you, sir, what were the challenges you had in setting up this facility?
There are actually many challenges. One is the technical, both technical as well as other kind
Did
of
you guys
challenges.
have the technical know-how then?
No, initially, yes, we were interacting with the design team, we were interacting with the pilots to get a lot of inputs, based on which it was fine-tuned. After the pilot flying each sortie, we get a lot of inputs from the pilots, based on which the system is fine-tuned to meet the training requirements.
This is a fixed base simulator. There is no back. So the visuals are the key parameters for him to feel that he is flying. Okay, if you go to a transport aircraft simulator and all, they are on actuators and they move the thing. But then we found we don't need that. The visuals themselves will be able to help the pilot to feel the handling.
Okay, they'll feel like
As if he is flying an aircraft.
So you would have been how old when you joined this setup?
That was, I just joined after my graduate 21. When I came, that time it was first phase. Just within like my joining, within 1 year, this flight happened. So I was just part of this thing. So earlier I used to just set up the system for them, and I used to, any update kind of things used to happen, claw update or aero data set update. And then I used to provide this thing to the pilots. So that's what I have seen with the pilots actually. So they come, they fly, and then complete practice.
21-year-old youngster from where?
From Punjab Engineering College, Chandigarh.
For all the guys in Chandigarh, please, whoever is watching this and who will watch in future, remember we have a hero from Punjab who has actually, and I have seen young Bhatia some 20 years back, and these people are the real unsung heroes behind the scene. Hours and hours of work. I am told, there are days they have slept here because of the kind of continuous work. Amazing work. So what is that one thing, Bhatia, you would recall as a youngster, which is quite unforgettable? Apart from the first flight. Because, first flight is talked enough. But there are a lot of activities and moments, things beyond first flight, right?
See, frankly speaking, when we saw them first time, that time, I also really used to be little bit susceptible whether they really have this kind of confidence on this simulator, whether they really, when they are flying, will really match the aircraft performance. But over the period of time, what I have seen is the tremendous confidence which the pilots have on this simulator as far as the fidelity of the model is concerned. Now also I have seen any test point which they have to take in the aircraft, they have to first practice here. Any kind of new thing, whatever is done in the aircraft, new test points, anything you just see with respect to, even till yesterday also, this pilot came and practiced a total,
including the weapon firing.
Everything. They have to first test it here. And if they don't, if they are not satisfied, they will not fly the aircraft.
Absolutely.
Without RTS, no flight.
So what makes your simulators different? Or how best are they compared to the contemporary ones in the world?
As in the simulator community, there's a saying, your simulator is as good as your data. So that's the main thing. So what we concentrate on is the fidelity. So if you take a normal training simulator, there will be more like a generic one customized for a specific aircraft with some parameters for tuning. But here, since it started from a engineering simulator, that means we have to be precise on our fidelity from day one, because we are believing that is what the aircraft is going to do. So that way the amount of data and the models which have been put inside, they replicate LCA as they fly,
Very closely, very closely.
and that is about the correctness of the simulation. The other is about the correctness of timing of the simulation. That is where the real time simulation comes in, where the same pilot feels no difference in terms of responses also, the input to what he is seeing.
So I want to just ask for the benefit of the young fellows. So when a new missile is integrated into Tejas, for example, let's say Astra in future, so how will the pilot, so what kind of changes you will make here?
Yeah, basically our simulator consists of data for aerodynamics and the mass CG inertia properties of the aircraft.
Okay.
So these two will be the updates what we will be getting from the respective designers. We will be integrating them into this. So it's like virtually putting the missile into the aircraft.
All right.
And then we give him the aircraft for his evaluation sortie first, so that we say it is safe to carry this missile, and then they practice for the further whatever release and
Cockpit
other
also
things.
updated.
Yeah.
In the sense, the software they come to incorporate the missiles. Okay, that also is there. That also they bring it here. One is the aircraft, second is the cockpit, and the avionics, what all the interfaces.
So
that they do.
as we speak, I got an idea. All the fellows chasing me for Tejas update, instead of putting it at the end in this episode, let us give us an update on this simulator facility. And you are the right man. There is a segment Tejas update. Now you are taking over that. What is next? What is the futuristic simulators? I understand Chief of Air Staff recently launched a similar simulator at Air Force Station Sulu. So what update can you give to all these mad fellows following Tejas from the simulator point of view?
Actually, see, based on the expertise what we gain and the confidence what the pilots have in the simulator, Air Force has asked us to build the full mission simulator. We have upgraded from a real-time simulator to a full mission simulator.
From RTS to FMS.
FMS, correct. And that has been commissioned at Air Force Station Sulu to meet the training needs of the squadron pilots. Though we have multiple aircrafts flying, the training device was not there, and this filled the gap. And Air Force is very happy to take that simulator. And now squadron pilots have started training there at Sulu.
A simulator at their home.
Yes.
So what happens when the Mark 1A, Mark 2, AMCA, and TED BF, all those programs are lined up and taking shape, including some of the unmanned programs of ADE itself.
Actually, we have made a roadmap for simulator development, both for manned and unmanned aircrafts. Okay. As you are rightly mentioning, we have done for Mark 1. Now we will be doing it for Mark 1A, Mark 2, and AMCA. So that is in the pipeline of manned aircraft program. As well as for unmanned series, we have all other unmanned aircrafts lying here.
So are we going to see a different setup with different dome simulators, or it will be an updation of this?
Partially, yes, updation on this, and we will be taking it to a different setup based on the training requirements as well as the requirement from the services.
Absolutely. So when you compare the best simulators in the world, are we there, or we need to catch up with some technology?
See, actually, we are trying to work out on the indigenization, basically, so that the full simulator development is done within India, with all Indian components. We are now trying to develop all the Indian industries to take part in this program, not only for the warranty and other support, in fact, from the design stage itself, so that the Indian industry grow, and we will be able to build a state-of-the-art simulator.
It is comparable to the best anywhere in the world. What he is now trying to see, a lot of what you call systems which are imported are now being replaced with indigenous, so that one is the Indian industry gets the benefit and the supply and support base becomes stronger. That is the basic thing.
Amazing. Industry partnership, making in India everything. So Bhatia ji, what are the salient features of the Air Force simulator? And you could also then talk about the salient features of the Navy simulator. I understand the SBTF is there. So what are silent features of the salient features of the Air Force simulator?
So as like you can right now we have converted into a full mission simulator where pilots can do complete training now. So starting from the complete startup procedure, when the pilots sit in the cockpit, complete from the startup procedure to your complete flying, then your take off, then your autopilot functionalities, then your complete mission profile, then your emergency simulation. Basically, whatever he does in the aircraft, he can practice it here. So all kind of then your weapon firing, then with respect to your sensor simulation, and then as a most important thing, all emergency simulation. Here, just want to bring it out like this. What pilots also when we interact with them and all, one is normal flying. So that they say this normal flying they can practice in the aircraft also. So they mainly where they focus upon here, they have a prescribed syllabus here where this pilot has to, these are all conversion trained pilot, like the pilots of this LC who have come from other squadron to this thing. So they have their syllabus defined. For in that syllabus, various flying parameters, so they have to finish 40 hours of that full syllabus they have to finish before going to the actual aircraft. So they have their normal flying and all the emergencies, as they what all emergencies can come in the aircraft, so that they practice, because they may not face it in the aircraft, but they should be ready for that. Their complete action point should be, so it replicates the exact behavior of the aircraft.
All right. So what Bhatia ji was talking about the conversion of pilots means for young fellows, they could be now part of the Tejas squadron, but these pilots could have been flying Sukhois, could have been flying Mirages, mixed different kind of aircraft before, and coming to LCA for the first time, for them, right?
Yeah, exactly.
This simulator becomes a friendly entry to teach them how the LCA functions, right? And what kind of feedback are you guys getting from the pilots?
Yeah, that actually based on the simulator training and a few sorties on the trainer aircraft, the pilot is able to fly solo. So that itself speaks for what confidence the pilot and his instructor gets, because earlier the pilots are test pilots. So they know more and they have more hours of flying. Okay. But these pilots are relatively younger pilots.
And squadron pilots, they don't have any test pilot
So
experience.
that way they have their previous squadron experience, but flying a new aircraft is something which they have to practice. So they have an evaluation here for solo flying, and once they clear the evaluation, so they go directly for flying the aircraft, because the trainer sorties are very few. So that way the simulator to aircraft transition has been smooth for all the pilots in the squadron so far.
Why not we spend some time in the simulator?
Absolutely. Dr. Kota is becoming restless because he wants to fire missiles. He wants to get into the cockpit. So that was this young team. And later, remember, we are also going to line up some of the unsung heroes. This team is just not 3 members. There are so many people. So we'll also meet them. And now let's hit the fighter simulator.